They say imitation's the sincerest form of flattery, and that's definitely one way of putting it. In this video, I want to show you how one of the very first Nikes, the Cortez, is actually a ripoff of an Asics Onitsuka Tiger. The shoes are nearly identical in almost every single way. And I also want to take this opportunity to teach you about the 12 essential parts of a Nike shoe. So I'm going to put this list up right next to MJ, break out a whiteboard, and sketch a Cortez really quickly on here, and then we'll talk about these 12 essential parts. I love sketching the Cortez. I've learned how to do it pretty quickly because if anyone ever asks me for my autograph, I always put a little Cortez on there underneath. Alright, so there's our Cortez shoe. Now, 1 refers to the upper. The upper is going to refer to exactly what it says, the upper part of the shoe. Notice how the upper part of the Nike is virtually identical to the upper of the Asics. So let's mark a number 1 right here to refer to the upper of the shoe. Number 2 is the midsole. The midsole is going to be this foam portion that has the blue on it. Again, notice how the midsoles are identical on one of the first Nikes and the old school Asics. So we'll separate the upper and have this little part that we'll call the midsole. It's important to note that the midsole often contains a lot of technology. You'll have a visible air window, you could have zoom air, you might have shocks, but typically right here in the midsole is where you'll have a lot of the technology in the shoe. Number 3 is going to be the outsole, and the outsole refers to the underneath part of the shoe. This right here is the Asics, there's the Nike. Identical, again. So we'll put a little number 3 here, and we'll point to the bottom part of the shoe. Number 4 is going to be the insole. The insole is going to be the part of the shoe that you can pull out and maybe put an orthotic in there. In this case, the only difference is the Nike is blue and the Asics is sort of a cream colored. So we'll put a little arrow all the way down here. I'm going to make it like a dotted arrow so that you know that it refers to the part on the shoe that's right here on the inside. And that's going to be number 4, the insole. The next part is the lining. The lining is going to refer to this part of the shoe, identical in every way. So we'll put a little number 5 right here for the lining. Number 6 is the tongue. Probably know what that is. There's the tongue, Nike logo. Here it is, Onitsuka Tiger logo. So we'll go right here with a number 6 for the tongue. Number 7 is going to be the collar. The collar is going to be the outer part of the lining. On old Air Jordan 1s, the collar is the part that deteriorates. Again, you can see the collar of the Nike, the collar of the Asics, identical. So right here we'll have this area is the collar, number 7. Number 8 are the laces. Pretty obvious right here, the laces. Identical number of eyelets, which is the next thing that we're going to talk about. Eyelets are going to be the holes that the laces go through. So we'll write down 8 for laces, 9 for eyelets, and then we'll get into 10, which are aglets. Aglets are the plastic lace tips. Sometimes they're chrome or something fancy, but aglets refer to the ends of shoelaces. In these cases, they're going to be identical. So we'll put a little aglet right there, right number 10. And then we'll get to 11, which is the toe box. That's going to be the toe box. You'll see that on both of those shoes, they're absolutely identical. So it's pretty much this area right here is going to be the toe box. And then we all know the iconic swoosh is going to be number 12. I'm not sure if you knew this, but the swoosh was actually designed by Carolyn Davidson. That was a friend of Phil Knight. He paid her $35, $2 an hour for 17 and a half hours of work. And originally, Phil Knight didn't even love the swoosh. He said that it would probably grow on him. You can compare the swoosh to the Asics logo. That's going to be the main difference in these shoes. other than the color of the insoles. But you can see how the shoes are virtually identical in every single way. And a lot of people don't know that, but Nike got their start importing Asics. Legend has it the Asics people weren't sending them the best sizes and the best colors, and Phil Knight and Bill Bowerman thought that they could just do it better. So they ripped off a lot of the early models of Asics, made their very own shoes, put a swoosh on them, called it Nike, and here we are 40 years later, and they're the most powerful brand in the world when it comes to sneakers and clothing. Anyway, I hope you've learned a lot about the anatomy of a shoe, and can't believe your eyes that the first Nike looks just like the old Asics.